that negatively affected our linguistic rights. We continue to be proud of our language. We continue to be proud of our culture. But Milan represented a significant setback worldwide when deaf people were no longer viewed as equal. Their language and culture were devalued. After that, oralism and its associated philosophy spread. And the deaf community suffered greatly as a result. Sign language rights suffered. Opportunities for work and advancement of deaf people suffered. That Congress had an impact that we continue to see as autism spread through the world. We here at the conference looked for some personal examples of the impact of the Conference of Milan. And so I'd like to show you these examples of Congress participants here who were impacted by this significant event and who experienced obstacles as a result of the spread of autism.
And can you play the video now?
If you could please play the video. Yes, it's on this slide. Yes, oppression. The right to have work and families. The right to not be isolated, but to connect and belong. To not be alone. To not be separate. But to be able to work and have education. To be a part, to not be alone at work, to not be alone in the family, to not have to stay alone. I feel that as a deaf person, people looked at us and didn't know how we would communicate and didn't give us that right, and that was oppressive. A person had an interpreter who went to the dentist for the first time, and
when I went to see my doctor, they brought an interpreter. It was the first time I had an interpreter for a doctor's appointment, and the doctor suggested that I get a cochlear implant. And I thought this was such a strange proposal because I got an interpreter with me, and I tried to explain to the doctor that, I don't need an implant, I need an interpreter when I talk to you.
Throughout India, you see deaf people born in various families. The deaf people who are born in deaf families do well, but in other families they do not do well. And so deaf people need the opportunities in school to advance. They need the opportunities to help to be equal to their hearing peers. Deaf people can do that. They can learn and grow and develop a sense of pride. So as deaf people continue to do that, we must continue to work, but we have to fight the obstacles that are put before us. Deaf people can advance in education, even though they must make up from the disadvantages of oppression and make up the lack of language that they're often deprived of in infancy. They can do that if they continue to work to fight against those struggles.
I mean, we face so many obstacles and forms of oppression. For example, I find that teachers at my school don't support deaf people, don't understand deaf people. In society as well, we have negative attitudes. People laugh at us, they mock us, they're rude to us. And again, in schools, I feel like I'm constantly put down and I'm constantly misunderstood, and I'm not treated the same as my hearing peers. I'm looked at as someone that's stupid, that can't achieve the same as everybody else in my class. So these are just examples of autism that I experience at school, and I think This needs to stop. People need to understand that deaf people are equal.
Yes, I remember back when I was younger in middle school, I wanted to do things and I was often not allowed because I wasn't given access to sign language. I was told that I had to go somewhere else or go to another school because I couldn't have access. But when I went to another school for the past 7 years now, I was at a school with an interpreter, and I was able to understand what was going on with fewer language problems. I was able to understand in sign language, for instance, math, I was able to understand. But that was really oppressive when I was not allowed to do what I needed to do. Autism, autism, autism. These are examples of the many people who suffered over the 140 years that language was deprived from our community. Think of where we could have been. Think of the hopes that were shattered, never given an opportunity to take flight because of this philosophy. So we'd like to take a moment to honor the people who suffered, the lost dreams, the lost opportunities that resulted from the conference. In order to do this, we'll dim the lights. We encourage you to use the light from your phone to show the idea that light can overcome darkness. We'll now have a moment of silence. You have your cell phone lights on, and the house lights, please come down. Please turn the house lights down.
I can ask everybody to just stand for a minute's silence.
Thank you all very much. Can I please have the house lights back up? Thank you.
Thank you. That was a very moving moment. Seeing all of your lights on, it gives us hope. These lights are to remind us that we can defeat darkness, keep the lights shining, we will overcome these challenges, and we will succeed. We will see sign language spread throughout the globe, because the World Federation for the Deaf is proud to announce a new document that we're going to launch today, the Declaration on the Rights of Deaf Children. This declaration has come from France. The French deaf community prepared a declaration on the rights of deaf children, identifying these rights specifically. And so the French Deaf Association brought this declaration to the WFD's attention, and it was put forward to the General Assembly and voted on. And the members supported this declaration. This declaration contains 10 important points, and I would like to invite a member from the WFD Board to come up and explain the contents of this declaration. All deaf children, like all humans, are born free and equal in dignity and rights.
All deaf children have a right to a sign language. National sign languages are the only fully accessible language for deaf children from birth onwards.
The right of deaf children to their national sign languages shall not be infringed.
All parents, carers, and family members of deaf children must be provided with free instruction in their national sign languages.
All deaf children have a right to quality, inclusive, multilingual education in their national sign language and the national written language. Bilingual education.
All deaf children have the right to learn the linguistic identity and culture of the deaf community.
All deaf children have the right to protection from language deprivation. Not providing access to the national sign language to all deaf children constitutes discrimination.
All deaf children have a right to fluent national sign language models, including their teachers in education.
All deaf children have a right to express their views on all matters affecting them.
All of the above declarations must be implemented for all deaf children immediately, without delay.
Wonderful. WFD supports this declaration on the rights of deaf children, and we will make this part of our ongoing work. We are committed to furthering this declaration. If you could please come to the front with the poster. So you see I have a poster. So as you can see, we've put our pen to paper. We've taken the idea from France. We put this to the General Assembly. We'd like to thank the French deaf artist who prepared this poster for us. We have signed this poster, and I would now like to invite to the stage the president of the French Deaf Association to add their signature to the poster. So we have the president and vice president. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You want to explain just a little? This Declaration on the Rights of Deaf Children is something that we as an ordinary member are proud to share with WFD, to have a part of, because we've seen the same problem that has been seen globally. Children don't have access to appropriate language instruction. We saw back at the 2018 Congress in Paris this idea that one of the themes of that Congress was education. And as a result of the discussions that emerged from that, we recognized that we needed to succinctly state what it is that deaf children need, what they must have. So we cogitated on this for 4 years, and then at the conference in 2022, we invited Dr. Murray to come, and we displayed the French Declaration on the Rights of Deaf Children. Dr. Murray thought that the idea was good, so he approved of the idea, so we then recommended it to the General Assembly. And we hope that worldwide it helps you to end the discrimination against deaf children and ensure their rights.
If I could just add that this declaration, it's important that we explain this to deaf children. So in order to get the message across, we had a deaf artist do some illustrations just to make the declaration accessible, to help them understand their own rights, that they have multiple rights that need to be protected. Thank you. Thank you to you both. This will be added onto the WFD website, where you will be able to have a look yourselves. So please do check out our website after Congress. We have signed this document. We invite you to put your signatures behind this document. Do you want to join us? Yes, I can see hands in the room nodding. Okay, well, we've got posters at either end of the room, so I invite you to add your signatures to the posters that have been put up at both ends of the stage. Thank you. So now we have time. We still have some remaining time left. If you'd like to come down to the front and add your signatures and show your support.
Yeah.